Hi, this is Kirk, and I've got Andy with me. We're interviewing the Hertfordshire metal band War Torn Wings. We've got all band members with us tonight. I'm right in thinking? Yep, 5 as a printout. Thank you very much for turning out tonight. We don't normally get everybody, so that's a huge honour. What we're going to do is we're actually going to discuss your debut EP that you released in February last year, self-titled. We're going to go through the 3 tracks on there. You can tell us and our listeners about those songs. We'll give our views, and me and Andy have, got some questions in between as well. So before we do that, you're not an easy band to research, in my opinion. I couldn't really find anything about you. Can you give us the origins, when the band formed, who the founder members were, and is there a concept behind the great fortitude of your name, War Torn Wings?
Yeah, okay, I suppose that's over to me. So we're fairly newly established, which is probably why you're struggling to find too much about us, to be honest. So I'd say Charles and I are an item. We've been together for about 8 years or so, and we've just kind of slowly written the songs over that period of time, really. And when it came to COVID, we obviously were bored out of our minds, as everybody was. And that's when some of the newer songs kind of were created. So Four Glass Walls.
Even Sin,
actually, yeah, it was kind of all kind of developed through the lockdowns. So then we got to a point where we wanted to take it forward, like we wanted to get more band members and, start gigging and things. And to be honest, because things were slow during COVID, we struggled quite a lot. And I then got pregnant and we couldn't find band members. So we got to the point where we were going to call it a day. And then miraculously, Alan and Poe got in touch with us. And it's just gone on from there. But we've got a young baby, Poe's got a young baby. So progress is probably not as fast as we would like it to be. But yeah, so that's how we formed, really.
Yeah, so should we talk then about track number 1 on the EP? So it's called For Your Tomorrow. It's quite an epic one, isn't it? Over 5 minutes in length. Can you tell us how that song came into being?
Yeah, so again, that was Charles has all the songs that we play as of this time. Charles has written musically and I've written the lyrics. So that was a creation of Charles's, probably a good few years ago now, would you say?
The lockdown song.
Oh, it was a lockdown song, yeah. So
yeah, I played in a band previously, had enough, a changed career, so I stopped playing for a few years, and then lockdowns come in, and well, same as everyone, we had nothing to do, and then I didn't even own a guitar at the time, I don't think, did I? And then I was driving my wife mad through lockdown, buying and selling guitars and different amps, and it got a little recording rig, and then we started doing some demos. So yeah, that's sort of very much how I used to write in the old band, style-wise, For Your Tomorrow. And it's the first time in a long time I've done any leads, so it's quite a nice bit just to pick up guitar again and write. And I think that was probably the first one, the lockdown, that came out, and then Jen.
Yeah, so Charles writes the music first, and then I write afterwards all the time. For Your Tomorrow particularly came from, whether it's a poem or more like a reading, but to do with World War II. For Your Tomorrow we gave out a day. And I've got a real passion for anything World War II related. So to be honest, it was just I was really passionate about writing it, and it just was one of those songs, it just clicked really, especially the chorus. And yeah, I think then over the years it's just kind of got bigger and better, and as we recorded it we came up with more ideas and just layered it really. So yeah, that's what I was going to say, one of my favorites. I still don't know, but
yeah, what is that? There's a really unique enunciation that you're doing when you're pronouncing your R's at the beginning. Are you rolling the R's? What consonant is it? It really stands out at the beginning.
Is that in the in the intro?
Yeah,
is that?
In the intro when it's
We know. I don't know. I just do it naturally. I think. I honestly couldn't tell you. Bad habits, maybe.
When I first heard that, and I don't know if you did that live, but on record, no, it's not a bad habit. It's quite unique.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I have no idea. It's just natural, I think.
because it's like almost like an upbeat Nightwish with traditional heavy metal riffs.
Nice.
And then it's got like harsh backing vocals as well. So can I just ask the other members of the band? So if we start with you, Alan, I know that you came in and the song was already written. How do you see this song?
Probably to play live, it's probably one of my favourites. It was the first song we rehearsed together. Basically, it started off as a trio kind of thing, me, Jen and Charles, and then Poe came in as well with another member, but then they sadly left. So when that came in, we were playing the songs together, and out of nowhere, it was more of it just gelled and it felt right. With the previous music I was writing and performing, things just didn't gel, but when it came to songs like For Your Tomorrow, it just gelled, and instantaneously I was like, yeah, this is decent, I like this. And then Charles and Jen literally said to me, there's the song, but another drummer wrote it, you make it your own. But I didn't really want to change it. I added little bits here and there, but I didn't want to change it purely for the fact, to me, it was already a completed song. And playing it live, you'll see, for instance, Charles will come up to me near the end when I do the triplets on a double kick and the snare and the high pitch, the high paced snare hits and stuff. Me and Charles will just have a moment and we'll just headbang, because it's just that part of the song. It's just like, that's it. Nothing matters after that.
Yeah, you've got a good lock-in with Subham on bass when I was watching you live as well. You know, you mentioned the triplet parts. You too, you had that. You know, when you just look at it and you think, we're in time here, this is great. Do you want to tell us about your thoughts on this song?
Who was that to, sorry?
Sorry.
Poe.
Oh, right, sorry. That's
right.
I'm just reading out your name on the camera, apologies.
Yeah, you can call me Poe, right? So when I joined, again, me coming back to bass is kind of a lockdown thingy. So I used to play bass in the very underground metal scene back in my hometown, Calcutta. But probably in 2015, I left work commitment, and then I came to England sometime in 2019. During the lockdown, I picked up a bass. I didn't have a bass at that time, and then I started playing. And as I started playing, I said, let me find a band. So I contacted these guys, Charles and Jen, via Facebook. I really like your music and I want to be a part of the band, and received no response. I was like, yeah, that was kind of normal, because I was sending a lot of guys messages you want a bass player, so I'm available, so like that. And then I think Luke Simmons, the ex-drummer of Silence, right? He suggested me, go for this site, join my band, and put some ads in the practice room. So I did that, and then Charles actually pinged me, and yes. So when I first heard the music, I heard their songs, I've heard them previously, and I really liked them. So what I did, just put on the bass and picked up the songs. I gave my own twist to the songs, and it was I'll pick it up. And I was first thing I asked Charles, let's jam sometime. I've already picked up the songs, and he was okay. So that was my first jam. So it was really good.
Definitely comes through live. Even the way you hold your bass, you look like you should be in a prog metal band when you're on stage. Like John Mayang from Dream Theater. That's what I was thinking.
John is my main inspiration, John Mayang, Dan Briggs from Between the Bird and Me.
Dan Briggs, I've interviewed him.
As well as, the bassist from Oxfire, right? Jared. I don't remember his last name. Yep, these guys are I vibe with them. So thank you.
Charles, you've got one hell of a job to keep Poe interested in future songs, and if he's listening to Dream Theater and Between the Bird and Me. Roxy,
no pressure.
Can we get your? In fact, Roxy, do you want to lead on the second song, the Sin?
Can I just say before we move on, we was going to talk about. I was going to say, Jen, one line I take from For Your Tomorrow is "There's nothing to gain, anything to lose." That was quite bleak and dark, but you explained that's sort of the theme of the World War II. Is that the sort of whole sort of mood of the song?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just just the lives lost, like, was it all worth it? Like, you know, it's easy for us to look back now and, you know, we've got no kind of personal link with it at all, whereas you think that was people's lives every day, like people were losing their, you know, dads, brothers, sons, and that just, for me, my real feeling is like, you know, it's just, was it worth it? Like, so much death, so much suffering, and yeah, for me it was just almost like writing it for everybody that lost their lives, I guess, basically.
Yeah, so does that, we're going to move on to Roxy. To describe the music then, can we come back to the lyrics on track number 2, The Sin Beneath Your Skin? So Roxy, can you tell us about your interpretation of the second track on the self-titled EP, what it means to you, what involvement you had, if any, in the songwriting?
Oh, well, I don't have much input in any of that. I've literally had 4 rehearsals and 3 gigs with these guys. So I've worked with Charlie on other projects previously. So me and him, we go back a fair while. When I got to listen to, when he sent me the links to the Spotify, and I listened to it and listened to a song like Sin, and it's got that dirty intro, and then the big just chunking power chords with the big drums behind it, and then you get Jen's vocals drop in. I'm just like, whoa, okay, I was expecting like big growling, and we don't get that melody. And yeah, it's a really good song to play. It's simple. Let's say it's very chuggy, and it's got that belter of a chorus. You know, look what happened to the world, and yeah, it's really fun to play. And it's really fun. It's really just a good song to listen to as well. It's for me, it's got a little bit of everything. You know, you got the harmony break in the middle. Yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah, do you know, when I heard it live and now listening to it on record, Alan, you'll probably understand this comparison. It reminds me a bit of that band Oceans of Slumber, but with more colourful textures, and if anything, even heavier. You know, like you said, because of that really heavy down picking in the riff. Is this something we can expect more of, Charles, in the future, a song like this?
Yeah, we've got quite a few new songs ready to go. We've had a new one written musically recently. It's down that same sort of vein there. It's a lot of fun to write, really. I always try and keep the structure of them pretty simple and classic. Yeah, the intro riff's a weird one to play because you're fiddling around on like the 17th fret on the E string, so it's like, what are you doing up there? And then we just opened it up, and when I played sort of the riff that goes before the first verse, it's just opened it up, and for me it felt like an old Rammstein kind of riff, and then it just, I mean, I'm one of them. I think I wrote the intro riff, and then about,
I have to say,
40 minutes later,
he played the da 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 da, and he basically like threw it away and just wasn't interested. And I looked at him and I was like, "What was that?" And I was like, No, like you need to keep playing that. Like, that's good. But so it very nearly got chucked to the side. So
I got Rammstein vibes from that riff. Actually, you say that. Yeah, I'm going to write that down. Yeah, very much so. Almost sauna, innit? That's the one.
Yeah.
It was a great icebreaker.
Two notes.
I thought it was a great icebreaker when you walk into a rehearsal room and you don't know anyone. Like I didn't even know you know, Alan or anyone like that. And you get to play that song. I think it's the first one in the set list, and it's like you spent a while practicing, rehearsing it, and everyone just falls into it. And it was such a great way to relieve the first rehearsal tension. For me, at least, anyway. It was it's just a big, dirty, chunky song with just lots of energy.
It's one of those songs when we play it in rehearsals, we always look at each other, and that's why it's the opening the song on the set list. We have the little intro from Charles and Roxy, and out of nowhere we have the 4 count straight in, because every time, without fail, you've got Jen headbanging, you've got Roxy headbanging, me headbanging, Charles doing like the proper dirt like face, you've got Poe just in the corner in his little world. It's just one of those songs that we can't help it.
Yeah, so if we move on to the final track on that then, 4 Glass Walls, my thoughts on that, I really like it. It's like epic rock with a bit of. I do hear Dream Theater again in that. I don't know if that's a conscious influence musically, but again, very colourful textures as well. And like those wailing pitch bends, as Charles said, the classic structures. But again, it's north of 4 minutes, so that's what I enjoy. There's a lot of space to breathe in it. Jen, do you want to tell us about this song then? How this?
Yeah, I will just say we have a baby who's less than a year old, so Charles has just gone to check on him because he's typically woken up, which we knew he would do. So Four Glass Walls again. It comes in sections, so I think probably the intro, and then he came up with the chorus, and it all started to just fall into place, and all the different sections came about. And then I just sat down one day, and lyrically, I kind of like Four Glass Walls to be open to interpretation, like to whoever listens to it in a way. So I don't really want to make a big point of what it's meant to be about, but I'd say for me, it was kind of slightly about the mental health journey, but almost about like, it's me singing to the other side of me, basically. So like, the me who's maybe struggles with my mental health, is anxious, wants to break out of that cycle, and the me who is, can kind of be more positive about things. And I'm trying to kind of, it's kind of like a battle between myself, but I do like people to just kind of make their own interpretation of what it could mean for them, really.
So does that song start in your house then? Because you're a lyricist and singer, and Charles is a songwriter. So is that in the front room and plugged into Cubase or something, Charles, or is it just you with an acoustic finding the chords and working out?
I always when I write, I never until the lockdown would record anything. I would just pick up a guitar and just write it. And I'm normally pretty quick when I come up with the first riff. I pretty much tend to knock a song out musically and then revisit it a bit within half hour, 40 minutes or so. But the whole EP was pretty much ready to go from the original when we wrote it, and then I just made a very brief demos and Presonus Studio One I used, and then the main reason I did that was to work as the click track, the scratch track behind the drums in the studio. So I just tempo mapped it, and we took that with us, and nothing really changed for any of the songs other than Four Glass Walls, because about a week before we went in, I decided it needed a 7-string on it.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Just in the choruses, and you might not notice it until you listen for it, but it just brought that song to life. And
it was fun.
I did not know that.
Did that change?
At some point there will be a 7-string live, I'm sure, as well. But the whole recording process was great fun. We recorded it in our old Stevenage with Chris at the practice rooms. I know you were very concerned because it was just us and our friend Elliot who played the drums for us. You were very concerned about my bass playing, and that was about the only bit I could do, to be honest. It took me about 17 weeks to track a guitar track and playing solos in the wrong key, weren't it? And then
it was a lot of work for you.
And then bass was like one take done. But no, it's great fun, and it was nice to push myself and just try and make that song bigger, because I felt the chorus, I love the chorus riff, but I just wanted it to, without going synthy or anything like that, just sound bigger and wider and add an extra dimension. So we got the 7-string in, which I think is tuned lower than a bass for that song. So I enjoyed that one a lot.
And Chris actually had some good input as well, because obviously it was just really me and Charles, and you kind of get so used to your own creations that you can't see anything from a different angle. So Chris was actually really good and gave us different ideas and helped us to find harmonies and stuff. Yeah, no, it was good fun actually.
So to be fair, we loved it so much, we even released a live practice rooms live lounge acoustic version of the song.
Yeah,
well done,
saw that on Facebook. Yeah. Some of the content that is available. But like you said, you're a new band, aren't you? Can I just ask then? So, what's the musical backgrounds of each of you? Charles, am I right in thinking you were in that band 13 then, that won Metal to the Masses? How many?
28.
Yeah.
I was the founding member of 13 with my older brother. Chris also used to play in 13 with me. He was about my 18th guitar player I worked with. I've obviously got serious issues. It's this
Must be something about you.
It's this massive ego. But I played in 13. I was full songwriter lyrically and musically in that. So you'll probably hear some similarities if you looked at the album there. We played Bloodstock 2018, and then I changed profession, and not long after about then we got married, and just it didn't work for me anymore. I lost the love of it in the band, not in music, and just the band didn't feel right anymore. And then I called it a day, and then sold everything. And then 3 years later, we're locked in a one-bedroom flat, and then I bought 17 guitars, and she didn't divorce me, so we're doing something right.
Yeah. Alan, I know your background musically, but for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, do you want to just give a brief summary before you arrived in Warthog Wings, what you were doing?
Well, as you obviously, we spoke in a few interviews before. Come from South Norwood. I was in my fair share of metalcore bands, a couple of hardcore bands. Moved up here, got with a band that's known in the scene, Scarlet Envy. Then left Scarlet Envy to be with these guys. We just kind of let the music speak for itself. That's as much as I can say. People can ask me so many questions about my influences and stuff, but when I jump into that rehearsal room and I'm with these guys, my influences do come out, but we all kind of mesh together, and then whatever comes out, we end up liking. So we literally just let the music do the talking.
Yeah. Paul, you said that you were heavily involved in the Calcutta metal scene. What kind of bands were you playing in?
I played in a band called Asymmetry. We were kind of heavy metal band, maybe. I'm very bad with keep giving a genre to the music that we do, maybe with some prog elements, obviously, like with our inspirations. So I was there playing. I also played in the Calcutta pop rock circuit with a band called the Mongrels Cacophony, and then I think it was more of a covers band, and we were doing gigs all over northeast of India. There were we were flying in weeks in and out, so probably 2 or 3 gigs a month, something like that. And then I decided it was not the kind of music I wanted to do, and probably the vocalist left. So then I slowly stopped with music, got on with work. I'm a IT consultant. So then finally in 2018, probably I got end of 2018, early 2019, I came to the UK as part of my assignment, and I've been here since. And I told you the story, how I met these guys.
Yeah. You applied for every band that needed a bass player, and even those that didn't. Sounds like
not really.
Networking.
There were 2 proper bands that I played in before Warthog Wings.
Yeah. Roxy, please tell us, are you the only musician in this band who didn't have a lull in his guitar playing days? Did you just continue ever since the age of 15?
I really wish that was the case, but no. My first bands were like Harlow Square Rock School days. Band I was in, A.D.K, became a little bit like a local hero kind of thing. And then I went through a couple of other bands, and then did the dirt rock thing with Distorted Breed. Then I ended up joining 13, having Charlie pester me after practically every show. And he's just like, Rox, just come and join the band, Roxy. We had great fun. I left 13, and then pretty much like Charlie said, I just hung everything up and went off and had a daughter. So that was like my real last step into music until got asked if I would like to try out for Warthog Wings. So I started picking it up, and I'm doing exactly the same as Charlie, having to buy everything all over again because it all went in the bin. But it's been really good. It's been really good getting back into it. It's been quite refreshing. It's kind of given I've got quite an eclectic taste in music. and so having a bit of heavy metal shot into my arm again was really good. I have really hurt my knee after the last gig though. It's showing that I am getting on a bit, and the amps don't get any lighter.
Like you've never been away. Metal for Masses in Hitchin. I am going to have to address. I don't know if it's the elephant in the room.
I was going to, I had a question anyway for Jen. We've gone around the band. What's your singing experience or band experience, Jen, prior to Hawthorne Wings?
So, my musical interests probably came from my dad, who's a very, very talented guitar player and singer. And since I was a kid, he's always been playing his guitar in his bedroom and just growing up around it, I suppose. I've always loved singing, and then when I was about 16 I got into like bands at school and found my confidence a bit. I think I had a couple of bands in my teens, and again though I probably was out of it for about 10 years I think. Again, then being with Charles, I suppose it just kind of naturally found its own way. Really, we wrote the songs and then it seemed a bit of a waste not to play them live, so here we all are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Karen, regarding vocals, Charles, we talked about you being in 13, and what I remember from those performances is your backing vocals were fantastic. You know, they're just very, very low, very aggressive, very powerful, and you brought that same style through to Hawthorne Wings. Was there any sort of consideration of perhaps adapting that or mellowing it down, or did you consciously make a decision to do what you do best, basically, with Hawthorne Wings?
He's only got one gear.
Yeah, if you want a complete honest answer, I don't really have any control over it. It kind of opened my mouth and what comes out comes out. And when we recorded it was scary, so I didn't know if I could still do it. But yeah, early days of 13, I only had that low guttural one, and it developed over a bit of time to have a bit more in the higher pitch. I did a lot more vocally in that because it's a bit faster and helped cover my brother in between the lines and stuff. But I suppose it's quite nice having sort of the angelic.
It's a nice contrast.
Proper singer, and then someone who sounds like he's been hitting the throat with a bat or something.
We didn't angelic and demonic are exactly how I described. The review of the Metal Master show. There is that that really good contrast, and it's a real feature of the band, and I love that.
Oh, thank you.
Angelic and demonic, I like that. Thank you, Andy.
Well.
Yeah, Andy, have you got any more questions before we wrap up? Because I've just got one more.
I mean, my final point is not really a question, but I think the band symbol you've got, the WTW, is one of the best I've seen, in recent years. I think it's very, very marketable, and you've got to make the most of that. Get it on a black t-shirt.
There you go.
Nice and big in white.
Yeah, definitely.
Bugs, lighters, whatever you like.
That's really, on me.
Who came up with that? Is that one of you guys, or did you get someone outside to design it for you?
Yeah, we had a friend who I suppose was like a graphic designer. I'm not really sure but I just had an idea again of the sword with the wings, knowing that would make like a WTW. Kind of just did a really awful sketch that looked like a stick man, and sent it to the guy who then just worked his magic, really. So
Gaz Jackson, if you're listening, which is highly unlikely. Thank you, Gaz.
Yeah, no, we love it.
Cheers, Gaz.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a great logo, great symbol.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, can I just end then with a question? I'm really interested in how bands describe the music. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of describing your music as female-fronted melodic metal?
Ooh, don't get me started. I'll let the others go first.
We've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to get to the
Go on.
I mean, the whole melodic metal thing, I've always just view it as metal. Everything, no matter where you're at in it. I'd never delve too much into if I like it, I like it. If it sounds pretty heavy, it's metal or rock, and we're fairly melodic, I suppose we could call it that. But it's metal, and everyone wants a subcategory now, so we went for melodic.
Yeah, but it's the female fronted.
But the female fronted, Jen would go on about for about 47 minutes.
I think for me, it's more same as Charles' metal. As long as you pull that face when you hear that riff and you just go, oh, it's disgusting, and your head moves, to me, it's just feel good metal music. Literally, it doesn't need a subgenre. It's just feel good metal music.
Okay, feel good.
Female fronted.
It's all entertainment at the end of the day, and the thing is, in 2023, everything's got to have a hashtag next to it, so you got to slot it in somewhere. I'm just here for the good times and the headbanging, to be honest. So
we're not
even to break your kneecaps.
We're not even in subgenres. We're in micro genres these days, aren't we? I know it's ridiculous, but go on, Jen. Female fronted. I'm always interested to know.
Oh dear. Yeah, the others are probably like, oh god, here she goes. But so I think for me, a big advantage is you can take people by surprise a lot more. And I'll leave that at that. And a big disadvantage, I personally believe there's still a bit of subconscious sexism, like in the music industry, in every industry, to be honest. So for me, it's always about going up there, and I don't want people to consciously be thinking it's a female. I don't want them to be thinking what I look like, what I'm wearing, you know, what makeup I'm wearing. I want them to hear the music and be like, fuck yeah, that's good. Like, I'm enjoying this, and that's just, it is what it is. Like, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want people to make a big point of the fact that we are female fronted, because it's about the music at the end of the day.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, just before I wrap up, I remember, you know, the local band Vexed, that band that is signed to Napalm Records, I interviewed the singer, and she made a good point. Because they're on the same label as Ginger, instantly people are just comparing them with Ginger just because they've got a female singer. It's like, you're only allowed one, you know, good female harsh vocalist in metal, everyone else is shit. It's like, well, whenever you see a man fronting a band, you just think, right, I'm instantly going to compare him with someone else in that vocal range. You don't, do you? As if you can only have one that's good. So I think that stands out for me. It'll probably help with booking though, won't it? Booking shows, am I right? Describe your music. You've got to describe it if you want to book a show.
Yeah, I think again, if people want to like tick all the diversity and equality boxes, yeah, great. Like it does, I suppose. But again, like I just don't even want that to really cross people's minds at the end of the day. Like if they like the music, they like the music, and hopefully they just enjoy watching us because we put on a good show and we sound really good at the end of the day. So who knows? But it's open for debate.
That's good enough for us. That brings us to a close with that contagious question. Thank you very much for joining us. And Andy and I will definitely be at your next show, and I've no doubt that Dave will be there as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.